Awesome. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Garage Talk. As always, I'm Conrad. Let's go.
I'm Ted. It's time to rock and roll.
Hey, Teddy. Today in the garage, we have with us
Oak Hill varsity softball coach, Ben Johnson.
There we go. I wish I heard that in my stands, but hey, I'll take it here.
Hey, that's a nice Mississippi Wall welcome for you, man.
I've coached against them in 3 different sports. I got a lot of love for Mississippi Wall. Great people over here.
That's one of the sweetest things that we've heard from a county rival.
I mean, just this past year, Heather Swartz, coaching against her in softball.
Yeah.
Great coach, great person. We sat next to each other at the all-conference meeting, have a great conversation. She's outstanding, but honestly, all the coaches are. I appreciate all of them. You get to know them on the field, win or lose. They're the same people, win or lose. That's what makes it a lot of fun.
Harold Coates is a fun coach.
Harold's awesome. Harold's awesome. He was the first one to embrace me when I got the head coaching job. And then Danny Justice. I'm going back a few years here now. And just great guys. Great guys.
And now this is your second go-around, right?
Well, I've been a part of the program, I think, 16 years. Started as a JV coach, varsity assistant for a few, and I've 9 years now as head coach. It's been a lot of fun.
I was going to say.
A lot of fun.
Yeah. You've had a couple 20-win seasons. This past season being one of them.
We've been fortunate. We got some good girls. We've got some talented girls. 2 of them are actually back on the staff now, which makes it a lot of fun.
Wow.
Actually, our first all-state Oak Hill softball player ever, Janessa Hasty, played over at Huntington University. Came back varsity assistant this year, and we actually had a deal after her sophomore year. You see it, not just talent, but you watch, like, she thinks the game. I see her in the middle of the inning. Hey, Abby Shaw, 3-year starter, second base. Slide over. Ball's hit right to Abby, turn a double play. Like, I got to remember that. After the season, we had a nice season. Not great, but a nice season, 18, 19 wins. And I was like, hey, you gonna coach one day? She's like, oh, I'd love to. I said, good, I'm signing you right now. I'm taking you. And as soon as she graduated, I got the text, hey, coach, if you're up for it. I was like, yes.
Wow.
Absolutely. So,
good deal.
Absolutely.
A great coach knows where to put his personnel to make them be the most successful. I can tell you got an eye for that, man.
Some of them, like a Janessa Hasty, they just slap you in the face, and you're like, fast, huge arm, thinks the game. That's a shortstop. Yep, looks good to me. Looks good to me. There's my captain.
I like it. So with this past season, did you see the Eagles being as successful as you were? Because there's some tough county rivals here.
Yes.
You know, Madison Grant. You had a big win against Madison Grant. You had a big win at Mississippi Wall. So was this something that you seen before you did it?
2023 was our first losing season any year under me. And again, I give credit to the girls, but I know I'm the head coach. I give credit to them for the win, but I'm going to take the losses because I get to answer all the questions. I tell them, I'll take the bad questions. You girls, you go smile, credit your teammates. And we had some issues 2023. We just couldn't get a couple clutch hits. We started the year injured. Number 1 pitcher's down. Catcher went down. But we started clicking a little later in the season, and we returned all 9 starters. All 9 starters. And so when that happens, and then you get 2 freshmen like Jolie Hawkins, who batted .523 this year, and Pathy Spiker, who pitched for us, and nice bat. I think got about 30, 40 at-bats through 60 innings. When you add those 2 to returning 9, you're optimistic. I'll say that. With the schedule we played, I didn't see 20, not because we couldn't, but because, well, let's see, we played Western, who's in the state championship.
Oh, yeah. 2 losses all year.
Awesome. I'll be going to watch them play on Saturday. We played 4 teams that played in the semi-state. We played 5 or 6 sectional champs. So when you look at that schedule and you know what they got returning, like all coaches do, you're like, we're going to be a lot better. And that's why I challenge the girls. We're going to be way more talented on this diamond, but we have to find the way to win. 9 and 11 last year, 2023, but we lost a lot of 1-2 run ball games. And that was the challenge to the girls. How are you? We're going to practice it. We're going to put you in situations. We're going to do everything we can to help you get there. But how are you going to stay locked in to win those ball games? And we did. I mean, just, okay, the T-shirt I'm wearing was incidental, but I smiled when I knew it. But again, we beat a awesome Madison Grant team who won sectional. And Travis Havens is an amazing coach with his winning percentage has to be like 85%.
Yeah, it's pretty high.
I mean, they tied that ball game in the bottom of the 6th. We're up 2-0 all games, second inning through 6th. They tied that ball game. And I look at my girls, I said, this is what we talked about. Are we tough enough to win? And we put 2 right on them right there and then shut them down in the 7th. And again, that is not a put down of Madison Grant, because I got nothing but respect for Travis and his girls, Holiday, his daughter. How about Olivia Dunham, the freshman pitcher, who's going to be a stud. But I mean, that was the moment I looked at my girls and thought, yeah, we're pretty good. We're pretty good, because you girls will fight to the end for me. So,
yeah, it's all about that grit, especially against a mega tough Madison Grant team.
Absolutely. Every year.
Every year.
They lose 2 pitchers, and you're like, okay, all right. Oh, Olivia Dunham's really good. And Craig, I mean, we've seen her for 2 years at JV, a couple varsity innings, and man, she just comes in and throws beautiful junk. And that's not a put down of junk. I mean, she keeps you on your toes. It's going to be 52 and then 41 and breaking outside and then a low or a high rise.
Rise ball, yep.
Man, you're like, how do they always have 2 girls? Not one. They always have 2. So.
Yeah, they got a nice little farm system over there. They know what they're doing, I think.
Yes, they do.
They do. They do.
And speaking of Madison Grant, I mean, we got a shout out to our boys team. They're playing for the semi-state this weekend.
Yeah.
It's outstanding.
That school, I think they're on the uptick. All sports.
Football was a big step up last year. They were physical. Yeah. They were watching them, the Oak Hill Madison Grant game right there at IWU. Boy, they were physical. It was, I mean, we came out on the wrong end, but it was a fun game to watch, just knocking heads. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah. So when towards the end of the season, you came into Mississinawa, was that a game that you had marked down on your schedule?
Yeah. That's there is.
Because they're very talented and they're young.
I know. They're another one who doesn't lose like hardly anything. I keep waiting for these teams. I'm like, well, now we returned 9, so I had no room to talk this year. But the few years before that, and this year we lost 8 seniors, 5, 6 big time contributors. We do. I circle every one of those. Up on my board, like I said, I teach 7th grade social studies. On my chalkboard, we use my marker board. So my chalkboard, we come in the first Saturday. I bring in donuts. We bring in fruit. We sit down. We talk about the year. We have a video we watch every year from Alabama's program, Patrick Murphy. Awesome coach. Heard him speak a lot of times. It felt weird, but I got a picture with an Alabama coach. I felt kind of dirty, but man, he's
Roll
awesome.
Tide.
Dirty again, just hearing Roll Tide. But yeah, I mean, he runs a great program, and he always talks. He's like, hey, we can talk hitting, and I'll talk hitting with anybody, but I want to talk about the mentality of your team, and it was awesome. I found that video, and we watch it every year. If you ever look at the back of a T-shirt I'm wearing, it probably says Mudita. And that's what we go by.
Okay.
And we talk about that just means who's going to put the team ahead of themselves. And if we can do it as a team, we're going to be great. Now, I tell you that because I want you to hear the philosophy of who we are.
Okay.
Most years we are that. Other years we're fighting to get that. But we put Mudita mentality top of the board. And everything else falls under that for the year. And you better believe we want to win Grant 4, and we want to beat the county schools. Well, darn, Eastbrook got us this year. We got them once, and they got us at third place. But no, Mississippi, Heather runs a great program. When you got Brooklyn Nash and then Ballage coming over and Smith who pitched against us, and They're running 3 strong, and that's not even including Greer, who is best friends with my starting catcher because they played travel ball with her dad for almost a decade together. So man, we got so many connections with that team. They are so talented. And then the shortstop, I always butcher her name, Iman Perriman.
Parrenman.
Thank you. She lit some threes on us this year too. I should know that 'cause she crushed. She drove in the 2 runs to take that strong lead on us at the beginning of the game. But we circled that one. And I told my girls, and I'll give you the quote, girls, I know a lot of people over there I respect, but that doesn't mean I don't want to beat them.
Right.
And the girls just looked at me and smiled, and I said, and that's what it's healthy competition. There is no hatred anywhere in this. And if there is, then I'm doing something wrong. We get to play a game we love, and if you guys were out there that day, it was like 78 degrees, sunny, gorgeous. Their field always looks great. And 2 good pitchers started going at it. It was a lot of fun.
It's always a good time when you have 2 good pitchers going at it.
Absolutely.
Always. Real quick side question. If you had the choice to play on turf or natural grass, what are you picking?
I wouldn't trade our turf field for anything.
Yeah.
Now, that said,
ball bounces faster and different
there
off
is
turf.
nothing prettier than a natural field that's taken care of. And our county schools are taken care of, and they look good. But as far as what do I want to play on, boy, that turf's tough to beat. It's coming hard, it's coming fast, but it's coming true almost every time.
Right.
And what I love about that, I mean, we went to Eastbrook, and man, that they redid their field, and it was fast. It was as fast as our field. But you get a rock here and there every now and then. And that's what made that game so much fun. It was 0 errors on natural. But I love our turf field because it's going to play right for everybody. And, man, let's just see who wins. And sometimes we lose them, and sometimes we win them.
And what's interesting, what you're just talking about, there's any of the county schools, there's no bad blood between your you want to win, but okay, let's flip it real quick. WNBA, what are they doing to Caitlin Clark? Is it jealousy? Is it?
It is. Well, okay. So
I think it's laying out the welcome carpet, welcome mat to her.
I mean, think of, and I'm never going to compare anybody to the greatest of all time, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. But look what happened to him early. They're like, oh, hey, the 2-time player of the year, he's coming in, and this little shrimp 6'6" guy, he thinks he's going to come in here and do that on us. Yeah, right. I mean, dude, they just beat the tar out of him. And Caitlin Clark, I agree. I think it is I think everybody respects her, and the numbers she's helping to bring in. She's not the best player in the league, so she's not doing it on her own. But, people are starting to watch, and they're like, oh, hey, now they're watching Chicago Sky, and they're watching L.A., and they're watching New York, and they're like, oh, man, girls can play ball. Well, there's been a lot of great WNBA players, but I do. I think it's a little, hey, welcome. Welcome. Yeah. Hey, you're going to earn your stripes. If you're going to earn that money outside of the game, you're going to earn your stripes in the game.
I think a lot of the talk is because we're living in a different era of how things are done. Growing up in the 80s, you couldn't go in the regular season and get yourself an easy layup in the 80s regular season. You're definitely not getting it in the playoffs. And that lasted through up until late 90s.
Although you couldn't touch Mike at the end, but
when would you say they started to get away with taking 3 or 4 steps? Early 2000s, mid 2000s.
As soon as James Harden touched an NBA basketball, I tell my son, both my sons, they enjoy playing ball. And Rocky, my oldest one, his name's Rocky, named after Rocky Boyman, Notre Dame linebacker, and
his son's name's Rocky.
Everybody asks me, "That's your dog, right?"
After Marciano.
There you go. Heck yeah. Me and my son were just talking about him. Greatest heavyweight fighter of all time. Has to be. Only undefeated heavyweight.
Undefeated, yep.
Now, Floyd Mayweather, undefeated in the lighter weight. But anyways, yeah, as soon as, I don't know why. Why do points equal fun? Like, that's what it comes down to. Points don't equal fun for me. Man, defense. Defense that's the game.
See, the guys I looked up to were Dennis Rodman and the round mound of rebound, Charles Barkley. I was a Pacers fan, but I was rooting like you couldn't believe for the Phoenix Suns when he went over there.
Yeah. Yep.
He had Dan Marley, Kevin Johnson. Like, they were going after the Chicago Bulls. I think they took him to a Game 7.
Nobody has. Game 6.
Game 6.
Game
Yep,
6.
it was Game 6.
I was actually at Game 5.
Oh, man.
In the old arena. I grew up in the Chicago area.
Okay.
We moved around a bit. My dad was in sales, and so we moved around a bit. But we're from Illinois, and he got us. We were in the nosebleeds of the old Chicago Stadium. It was awesome. It was the game. Jordan went for, I believe, 54 points, and the only one they won at home. And, oh, my goodness, watching him go, that was the greatest sports moment of my life.
I'm sure.
It was.
The mistake was Charles going out to dinner with him. He
Should
never have even went to dinner.
He should have known Last Dance was coming.
Yeah.
You don't talk to him. You don't look at him. You give him that shy little awkward kid wave, and you just don't tick him off.
I think he'll make things up in his head.
I truly believe that. I've read every book out there about Michael Jordan because he is. Babe Ruth started what sports became.
Yeah.
He started. I mean, just his quote. I've read most every Babe Ruth book too. He started it. They asked him one year, Babe Ruth, you're making $61,000 a year. The president only makes $60,000. He said, well, I had a better year than the president. I mean, he started it. National news was coming to him, and then Michael Jordan made it global, and Kobe and LeBron have kept it rolling. My son will slap me for saying something nice about LeBron. But he ain't the greatest, but he's an all-time. He is an all-time.
I still take Larry Bird over LeBron.
If he could have stayed healthy, how great would that have been?
Oh, yeah, and that's. I think Bird and Magic are the ones that brought the NBA back.
It was NBA Finals were on tape delay.
Yes.
Can you imagine that? I can't wait. I got DVR set up for 8:30 tonight. I mean. Goodness gracious, I am fired up to watch two Duke Blue Devils play. I spent a lot of years, my early years, in Charlotte, North Carolina. We lived down south for 6-7 years, and kindergarten on, and I'm old enough, that was before Duke was Duke. And the first friend I made, he was a Duke fan. Invited over to the house, Duke everywhere. And so I became a big Duke fan. So Derek Lively and Jason Tatum, I know it's Doncic and Tatum, but in the Duke household, it's Lively and Tatum.
Yeah, my buddy is a diehard Heels fan. Always has been. But,
nobody's perfect. It's all right.
It's all right. Just to put this in perspective, it's not like Caitlin Clark is having such a tough time that she's not. She's averaging 15.6 points, 5.1 rebounds, 6.4 assists, and 1.3 steals a game. That's pretty solid.
She is. And honestly, I love coaching girls sports, everything like that. I love watching. I've been watching women's college World Series. It's so much more fun than baseball. It's so much more fast paced. I could not get into female basketball, not because it's bad basketball, but there's just so many guys games on. I'm Illinois and Duke and then the NBA. It's just, man, where's your time? Well, a couple of the girls started talking about Caitlin Clark, and I'll watch some games. Don't get me wrong. I was never anti-women's basketball. Just so many great guys games that I'm watching. And then a couple of the girls on the team were like, Coach, you guys see Caitlin Clark? Oh, I've seen a couple highlights. Man, she's doing that every game in college.
Yeah.
Those step backs are all the time. And I'm like, holy cow, that's real basketball. That is special. And then we started talking. The girls like, hey, can she score against guys? I was like, with that step back, college guys, yeah. I mean, she could have. I believe she could have. Maybe not all of them, but man, she can ball. She's just a ball player.
Yeah.
And I was reading Draymond Green, some of his podcasts, and that Age of Washington or whatever, who's just dominating, going to be a 3-time MVP. And you start watching a little more, you're like, man, I kind of cheated myself. Never badmouth girls. Never badmouthed it. Just too busy watching other games.
Right.
And I was like, man, I missed some good basketball. Because that's what it is. There's good ball out there, and it's fun.
And that's her. I mean, she just got, especially in college, her vision. Yeah. Some of them passes she would make are just.
It's awesome.
She's made a few in the WNBA so far, but it's not.
She's finding the speed of that help side defense is a little bit different. But she's adjusting. I mean, 6 point, 3-4 assists?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do that if the vision will always be there. Now catch up to the speed and the physicality. She's already doing great. She'll be rolling again.
Like, I couldn't go into the WNBA and score 50. Yeah.
I'd get my butt kicked.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Okay. We're talking college, we're talking pros. Let's jump back to college softball. You brought that up.
Whew.
Man, what about the girl from Indiana, Keegan Rothrock?
She's awesome.
Is that? And you've seen her in person.
I did. I watched her, just a stud at Roncalli. What'd they win? 3 state titles? Lost
I believe so.
2-1 to Penn her senior year on 2 unearned runs. We mentioned it, hit the game-tying home run in the bottom of the 7th just to go to extra innings. And so you watch it and you think, okay, how's it translate? And a good buddy of mine, he's a well-rated umpire in the state. He did a lot of their games. He was very highly rated. He did the state championship game last year. He's been all over the place. Does a lot of big-time college games too. And so I asked him, I said, "Did you see that coming?" He said, No. He said, "She's a stud. I saw her being the number 2, a nice player, but a 3rd-team All-American. By the end of the year, what'd she have, 32, 33 wins, sub-3 ERA, playing who they played, SEC softball. I mean, the only thing better is Oklahoma and Texas, which, by the way, are going to be SEC softball next year.
Yeah, exactly.
So there are stud freshman people who are just special at what they do, but I mean, you never assume that, you're going to be that good freshman year. Well, she is, she was, and she will remain. And she must be in incredible shape. She threw, 60-70% of their tournament, not just Women's College World Series, tournament innings. Then Tri-West, I'm going to watch Tri-West Western. We're going to see the best offense in the state in Western versus a girl who's committed to Oklahoma, Tri-West Hendricks. Their pitcher, senior, .49 ERA, going to Oklahoma. And as soon as you hear Oklahoma, you're like, okay, she's amazing. And
you got to be.
Who wins? Have you guys heard about Brindley Erb at all?
No.
So Western's sophomore shortstop. She was up for freshman All-American honors last year. This is Western's shortstop. Wow, she's special. And she's that next one, and we play them every year. And, her as a freshman, we had 20-mile-an-hour wind coming in. So I'm like, all right, we're not walking these girls. She already had 15, 16 home runs. I said, we're not walking them. Nobody's hitting it out today. First at-bat, we get her to pop up. Awesome. Second at-bat, girl must have been angry. Left center, 30 feet out.
With the wind coming in.
With the wind coming in. Her third at-bat, I kid you not. Have you guys been to our turf field?
Yeah.
Okay. You know the batter's eye we got back there? That thing is 20 feet high into a 20-mile-an-hour wind, hits the top of the batter's eye, bounces over into. I looked at that, and this girl is yay big. She is not big at all. And I was like.
Bat speed?
Yeah. And her timing. So I went and watched the semi-state versus Norwell because Norwell knocked us out.
Yep.
And first 2 at-bats, there goes. First 2 at-bats against who they played, New Pal, who stud pitcher, probably going to get a D1 look. First 2 at-bats, she hits a 3-run homer and then a 2-run homer. They win 6-1.
Wow.
You watch that and you're like, And it goes back to when she gets to college, yeah, that bat speed will play.
Wow.
Where's she going? I'm hoping Notre Dame or somewhere close. Go to the Midwest. Come on, keep it in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Man, you can't fault anybody for playing SEC.
Oh, I
softball.
understand that.
That's-
You know, I like the girls crushing it, but and it hits close to home, I guess, and hits, no pun intended. I love a good slap hitter. I love a girl that can get on base.
Yep.
You don't even have to coach them up. You know she's getting on base.
That's our leadoff hitter, Bella Faustnight. She is a great soccer player, and that was it. That girl is blazing speed. Just drop it and run. 26 for 27 stolen bases, made all conference, batted .439 on the year. It's exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then when they get comfortable with it, and I mean, they were third baseman were sitting in her lap, because I mean, she would just drop it and gone. And what do? You hope she trips. Well, I didn't. The other team. And then hands, eyes, bat to ball, and just pop it through the infield. It is so much fun to watch. That's why softball. And again, we all grew up baseball guys. That's why softball's better than baseball. They still slap. They still steal. We bunt, small ball.
Yep.
And as soon as we get a girl on third base with less than 2 outs, I love it. Every school that's played us more than 1 year in a row, hey, here comes the bunt. They're bunting her home. Bunting her home. And we got away from it a little bit this year, but that's just because, Coach, I tried to be too smart.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? A well-placed bunt wins. A well-placed bunt wins. So
That's got to be an Oak Hill thing, because Coach Edwards
Yeah.
is famous for that too.
he is. His suicide squeeze bunts, I was like, man, I don't know if I got the stones for that yet. But he's been around 22 years.
Yeah.
It's not that long, but it's close. And so I'm like, oh, maybe a couple more years. Maybe then, yeah.
You're bunting all over teams that can't play the bunt, right?
Yeah.
All over.
It's
I remember one year you guys did that to us. I think my daughter was a sophomore, and it was just, oh my gosh, it was hard to watch.
it's maddening. It's maddening because when you drop it straight to third baseman, all right, fine. Hey, they're going to win that one. But when you can start spotting that ball, oh my goodness. And we practice it. Some years we're better than others. Some years I'm scratching my head. I'm like, why am I doing this? This is not our game this year. But thankfully this year we played some good small ball. We got a few girls that can slap and right hand. And my favorite thing about the slap is how it affects the pitcher. Around here, I mean, we got good umpires, but they'll give you that outside corner on that righty. They'll give you some love out there. And, man, you start hitting your spots. I always think of Maddie Evans at Madison Grant. She was so good. We had some great battles with them. And she'd get it, and then she'd hit the glove, and then she'd get about three inches more, and then she'd push it a little more. And so, well, you can't touch it by the time it's out there. And she's hitting the glove. So I'm like, sir. He's like, well, she's putting it right on the mark. I'm like, all right. and so what do? Okay, hey, I need you to get in that left-hand box. Just throw her mindset, throw her eyes off, throw the target off, just see if we can get her out of the groove. And sometimes it works, and then sometimes she strikes us out on the other side. So, hey.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned, the Faustnight girl said she's a really good soccer player too.
Yeah.
Are you a proponent of 2 to 3 sports?
Oh, I tell all my girls play. Be an athlete. Be an athlete. I am all for it. Now, what that's kind of meant, we haven't had a lot of travel ball girls the last couple of years because we have. I mean, I can go around, my pitcher, 2-sport athlete, all conference, golfer as well. My catcher plays 3 sports. My left fielder played 2 sports. My shortstop was 3. Bella Faustnight is 2. Madison Archer is just 1, and she's a travel ball girl with that extra time. Liz Godfrey, you guys have heard about her with basketball, all-conference soccer, 3-sport athlete. Taylor Holloway was a 2-sport athlete. I mean, you just go around our diamond. We're 2 to 3 sports, most everybody. And that's what I want. There's something to that competitive mindset. Now, again, travel ball's competitive mindset too. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. But man, I'm not from Oak Hill, but I got a lot of love for Oak Hill, and there's a reason I coach 3 sports. I want to invest my energy into it. I want my girls to invest their energy into it, and let's see what we can do in each sport.
Well, tell everybody what other sports you coach.
I am the.
Everybody over there knows, but maybe some of the other people don't.
They all know. They at least see me smiling and waving. Everybody, I'm a small-town guy smiling and waving. I was on Coach Osmond's football staff for a dozen years. He's actually the one who first hired me into Oak Hill. I will be loyal to that man till the end of my life. You want to talk about great football coach. I mean, he's won Coach of the Week 2, 3, 4 times.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, his record tells you how good he is, but you want to talk about just a great man. I was a 20-something-year-old punk turd when he hired me, and I was a youth pastor, well, maybe a punk turd youth pastor, and out at Maple Run, and he hired me because I'm not from the area. I was at Huntington University, got hired, and loved football, and he hired me sight unseen because the defensive coordinator and our pastor was defensive coordinator is an elder at our church.
Okay.
Our senior pastor at the time was also the freshman coach.
Okay.
And so, they're like, hey, he loves football, we don't know if he knows it, but he loves it. And so Coach O hired me, and so I'll be loyal to that man till the end of my time. Coached 12 years. My wife got pregnant with our 3rd one, my beautiful little girl, and so for about 5 years, I've been running the junior high program.
Okay.
And I love it. I teach the junior hires. I love working with those boys. But biggest reason, when Coach Osmond's at Oak Hill, I'm at Oak Hill.
Okay.
He is that great of a guy. And then I coached 8th grade boys basketball for 8 years. Kevin Renbarger, I mean, same thing I can say that I said about Coach Osmond, just an unbelievable program. I mean, state ring, right? State ring, that says it all. But I mean, they're competitive. Even when he loses it all, they're competitive. Like this year, he lost tie return.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I got Coach Jace Tonigal in 8th grade, and that boy's special.
Yeah.
That boy's all kinds of special. And his little brother's awful special, too.
Yep.
But, I mean, Kevin just says, oh, okay, well, hey, we're going to change some things up. Give me a summertime to get this. And, boy, he makes adjustments. He's outstanding. I stopped doing that. Like I told you guys, my middle son and I, when it comes to sports, we butt heads. We don't punch each other. I don't want you to think that. Yeah, that's on video. So we butt heads. And so it's important, way more important to be a godly husband and father to my wife and children than be a coach. But I don't want to give up sports either. So Carrie Barkham, great head coach for the girls program, hired me on as varsity assistant. So going into my 2nd year assisting her, loving it. We were competitive last year. We won more games than they'd won like the previous 2-3 years combined. It was she is, I mean, she's part of a national championship at Indiana Wesleyan.
At MU,
I mean, hey, you want a resume builder? She's got it.
Yep.
She's got it. And so it's been fun to be a part of that program. For the first time watching film as a coach, not as a player. Well, VHSs, right, guys? So, yep, I'm old. But, I mean, it's been fun learning how to break things down. Her dad, Randy Hosier, was on the IWU staff. And, I mean, I'm learning how to break down film from him. And it's so much fun. And then the great joy. Basketball is my favorite sport. But I love coaching softball. I love coaching softball. So as long as they'll have me.
Let me just share this because I'm sure it's true for the multi-sport coach's brain. You're flexing different muscles. But when kids are multi-sport athletes, they tend to have improved health and wellness, decreased injury, and improved athleticism and improved leadership and teamwork.
100% agree. I agree with you. Every part of that.
I am huge when I say, yes, I do love some aspects of travel ball.
Yes.
Especially, when they're really, really confident builders for the kids.
Yep.
But, man, go out there, play soccer.
Yes.
Definitely play soccer. Play tennis.
Yep. Yes.
Do other things, golf, track.
Yeah.
because you just don't know.
Yep.
You could be holding yourself back.
Yep. And again, you know, I do my best to coach our girls, and then the boys in football. We got so many great men and women at Oak Hill coaching that it's awesome to have multiple people investing in these youth lives. You know, and again, I got the youth pastor soft heart for, you know, our students, and I do. And in our youth group, we had some Mississinawa kids, we had some Madison Grant kids, and but man, we got so many great people investing in our kids, and I mean that's another reason to coach is just to get a brand new. I mean, Paige Brunner runs a great 2 programs at Oak Hill. Coach Osmond, sending them from Coach Osmond to Kevin Rembarger in the winter, or Andrew King, who is just a legend.
Yeah, he was on.
Legend, yeah. Oh, I bet that was fun.
Man, his hands are like shaking Andre the Giant's hands. I was like, dude.
And you know he owns a construction.
Yeah,
company. I swear the man just stuck his hand in gravel and some of it just stuck. I mean, it is sandpaper and then the slap on the back. Did you get the slap on the back?
No.
We didn't get that.
They're gonna be coughing and be like,
Probably knock the wind out of me.
appreciate it, coach. Thanks.
And he's a happy-go-lucky guy.
He's an outstanding human being.
Yeah,
he is.
Outstanding. I've had the joy of either coaching or teaching all of his children, and they're awesome. And you know they were disciplined the right way, of course.
Right. Yep.
But they got disciplined, they got structure at home, they got loved at home, they got encouraged at home. And I mean, as great as he is as a coach, and again, he's a legend, he'll be a Hall of Famer, no doubt in my mind, or at least should be. I mean, again, he raves about his wife. You can see the success his children are. Like, it's awesome. It's awesome. So again, that's why play multiple sports, get coached by other men and women. And so it's all fun. And hopefully it's all investing in the kids.
And earlier, he was even talking about that, like being a coach is true leadership, but there's someone behind you supporting you, helping you stay up on your 2 feet.
My wife is unbelievable.
There you go.
My wife is unbelievable. We got 3 kids that are sports and other things. My daughter wants to do dance, and let's do it. Let's do it. But I say let's do it, and then I look and say, sweetie, you got the time? Because I'll be coaching some of these. And she does. And I mentioned, I mean, she loves cooking. She loves doing all those things for the family. And she is true servant leadership, and all of her love pours out through. I mean, she invests everything, not just into the kids. She comes to my games. She is there for everything. It's awesome. Like, my wife is unbelievable.
Got
the all-star there.
Actually, tomorrow, 21 years, our anniversary.
Well, happy anniversary, a day early.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
She's your MVP, right?
Oh, my word, every year. Every year. She is unbelievable.
Awesome. Make sure she hears this and watches the podcast.
Well, we do our spring awards banquet, and every year I brag up my wife because I want everybody to know how awesome she is. She's a 4th grade teacher at Oak Hill. And
then she is awesome.
Yes, and every year when people are like, are you Mrs. Johnson's husband? I said, yeah. And the parents are like, oh, my word, my kid loves your wife. I said, everybody loves my wife. And I was praising my wife, and a couple of people from our church were there, and you know, they texted, they're like, oh, you would cry if you heard your husband. I said, I don't say anything that's not true. She is unbelievable.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, that's a key. You got the support staff at home.
It is. It 100% is.
And like I said, you know, the example you guys set, because I'm sitting here trying to think. I'm thinking probably the majority of the varsity coaches at Oak Hill probably are the longest tenured in the county, other than Coach Adamson and Eastbrook.
Adamson, yep.
Because off the top of my head, I can't. I mean, Todd Law was there forever. You know, he hadn't been gone that long, has he? What, 3 years?
4.
4 years?
4 years now. Yep. 2 with Clay Bolser and 2 with Carey. And Todd still pops in. His son is actually the freshman basketball coach, Michael Law. He is outstanding. My son had him, and man, you want to talk about another guy you're just thrilled your kid can be coached by. You know, I first met Todd Law during those Courtney Moses years. Those were my early years at Oak Hill. He comes up to me, and you couldn't find talented enough players to challenge them in practice. And so he comes up to me and he's like, hey, he's like, Coach Osmond says you're pretty fast, and you ever play basketball? I was like, well, yeah, I was a varsity ball player. I'm not going to pat myself on the back, but I was okay. I'm not Michael Jordan, but I was all right. And he's like, I need you to practice against my girls. I was like, I don't know about this. He's like, just trust me, we're good. Come and check it out. So I went in and I watched, and I saw this young girl named Courtney Moses. I was like, well, that's special. And I mean, that was like, after football, that was my first investment into Oak Hill and watching. And Todd Law, I don't know if you ever watched him coach. The man's organization and structure was unbelievable. We all write practice plans.
Right.
We all have them. I have a plan for every day, every sport I'm going to be a part of. But I kid you not, it was down to, for this 58 seconds, we're going to work on breaking down hands high and then dropping the hips. As soon as the ball comes down, we drop our hips and we're ready to take on that penetration and all this. I'm like, wow. So when I got that head coaching job, I went to Todd Law and I went to Coach Osmond, and I said, that one slide to the seat to the left, gentlemen, I need some help. And those were two unbelievable coaches to learn a lot from.
Well, Todd's dad, Jim.
Hall of Fame coach.
Because you keep sitting there saying that you're old. Yeah, he was actually a coach at Oak Hill when I was in high school.
Okay, well, that's not that long ago.
And Andrew King was a grade ahead of me, and he killed me one game. I'm surprised I'm still alive.
I bet he was a monster. I bet he was a monster.
Oh, he was. He was.
That is. I mean, I watched his son. I coached his son, Andrew. Not Andrew. I'm sorry. Why am I blanking? I can see his face. Played football at IWU, long snapper. Played a little tight end. Holy cow! I apologize. But yeah, his son was same mentality. He was not the fastest, but man, once he got you in his sights, he crushed you. Crushed you. It was so much fun. His daughter played 1 year of 7th grade football for me, starting nose guard.
Oh my goodness.
She was a beast.
Nice.
She's now going to college to be a dancer. Yeah, she was a nose guard. She was not a big nose guard, but man, she hit anyone. It was so awesome. Like, it's just in the King DNA. Got it. Got it.
Now you brought up your wife. Let everybody know about your kids.
One wonderful one. My daughter's amazing. I love her. I had to do that because my boys will watch this. And I was like, you favor her. I said, I do not. I don't favor any of my children. But, there's that father-daughter bond. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. And she's 5 now, and I'm still really important in her life. And one day she's going to look at me and be like, Dad, please stop talking. And I'm like, That'll be the worst hurt in my life. But no, my son is a sophomore at Oak Hill, plays football, plays basketball. My other son's going into 7th grade, also football, basketball, and you speak to soccer. And my 7th grade one's a little heavy-footed. Like, he's an okay athlete, but a little heavy-footed. So in junior high, I told him, you're playing soccer.
Yep.
You want to get faster feet?
Yeah.
Soccer.
Yep.
Soccer. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure Paige could work with his footwork too. But he doesn't coach the junior high, and that's why it's soccer. And then my daughter does gymnastics, wants to do dance, and we went to the Oak Hill Plays, and they're amazing. Aaron Kincaid puts on unbelievable shows. At the intermission, my daughter is up on the stage for the entire 15 minutes dancing on the stage because nobody's there. I'm like, well, okay, she's cute. I guess she gets away with it.
How old is she?
She's 5.
5? Okay.
5.
Yeah, she's getting away with whatever she wants.
Yeah,
to.
she is. That blonde hair, blue eye, big smile. I was like, well, nobody else is saying anything. All right, I guess I'll keep my mouth shut too.
Yeah.
Now, I would be remiss if I didn't ask, but for your softball program over there, what kind of feeder system do you have?
Our youth league has done a really nice job. Until this year, Brian Tucci was my head varsity assistant coach. His job, the hours, and just he's got a daughter overseas. He's got 4 grandkids now. He just told me he didn't have the time, which broke my heart, but we're still good friends. I bring him up because he, several years ago, really got the softball side going. He had 3 daughters, and they were playing baseball. They were all just
Really?
playing baseball,
Okay.
and that's great. Hey,
Yeah.
go compete with the boys. Hey, whip the boys' butts sometimes when you can. Or get your butt kicked and learn a whole bunch from it. Hey,
Right.
sometimes getting our butts kicked is a good thing.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not fun, but it's good for
Yep,
us.
yep.
And so he's the one who really, one of the main ones who helped get softball going. Not the only one, but he really got it going. And our youth league does a nice job. What I appreciate is they begin to get the young girls pitching. I know it slows the game down. I
Right.
know it gets rough to watch. I know that. But if we're going to win, we need our 10U girls pitching.
Right.
And they do, and they work on it. So we have a clinic every other year or so, and the softball coaches, youth coaches come in, and I tell them, hey, let me talk about our philosophy and, what your biggest job is. First, it's a sport. It's fun.
Yep.
Keep it fun. I remind myself of that with my varsity girls.
Right.
I say, girls, you're giving me a ton of hours. My job is to make sure that I remember this is fun, because it's really easy to get caught up in other things. And so I preach that from youth on up through varsity. And then I tell them, please have them pitch. Please have them pitch. Spend 10 minutes of practice, get every girl lined up, and just pitch into the backstop. I don't care, and just work on that knee driving through, the follow through, all this stuff. Please, and they have been, because, we've had some nice pitchers coming through.
Well, and I think, you look at it in girls softball, like you said, I like that. Line your whole team up. Let them throw. Because you look at a lot of these teams, a girl out there pitching, she doesn't look like the most athletic person.
Yep.
They don't,
It is. It's a different kind of athleticism, that muscle memory.
Yeah. Yep.
Can you repeat the process? And again, we all know that is as athletic as anything else. It just doesn't always look it.
Right.
But it is so athletic. And then this year, our junior high, Kayla Roby, a third-team All-Stater on our semi-state 2019 team. She was coaching, and Maria Buckler, who was a two-time All-Conference third baseman for us, was also coaching junior high. And I think they only lost 2 games. I think they were like 17-2, A and B. So I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
And again, I'm a 7th grade teacher, so I see them all young. And they start coming through, and they'll raise their hand. Coach, are we done with the lesson? Can we talk about softball now? Let me finish the lesson. I love teaching. Let me teach first,
Right.
and then if we have time. So, yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
That's awesome.
By the way, Keegan Rothrock, she throws like 70 miles an hour.
It's unbelievable.
Can you imagine catching that?
It is. I have heard from some girls that speed, if you don't catch right and you're not taped right, you are breaking fingers.
Oh.
You are. And it's no surprise. By the end of their stride, they're 37 feet away?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the comparison I heard. It's like 104 mile an hour fastball.
Yeah.
And then that Tennessee girl, that tall, she like around 6 foot, she was throwing 73 to 75. Wow. How does Tennessee lose?
Yeah.
Now they made it, 1 game away from the final 8,
Right.
but how do you touch that? Oh, and then it can do this and that and that, and then the screwball coming in and
Drop curve.
and then the ones with the big hands that can just palm or knuckle that thing in. We had a senior reliever this year, threw a lot of good innings for us. Her hands were the size of mine. She just put it all the way back in the palm, could throw 50 to probably 53, but that thing just drops. I'm like, she throws it. It was like Tim Wakefield for Boston. That knuckle just, and oh crap, there it went.
Fell off the table.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Coach, thank you so much for
Loved it.
heading all the way over to beautiful Gas City to hang out in the garage with us.
So I actually thought about whether I should say this or not, or this might get me in trouble at Oak Hill. But what I love about Miss Sanoan Gas City is the community surrounds, like physically surrounds the school.
Yeah.
As I'm driving through, and I haven't been back down here where you guys are, but if I go this far, I'm going to Ivanhoe's.
There you go.
If you don't,
Yeah.
You made a mistake.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm just gonna take a left there on 22 and
Yep.
get to Ivanhoe's and get my wife some ice cream, bring it on home,
Yeah.
and
She deserves it. From the way you talk.
always.
Listen, I'm telling you right now, and I'm throwing this out there because we do food reviews every once in a while. They have the best onion rings.
Really? See,
Yeah.
I like a good
I like a
onion ring.
good crunchy.
Yes, it can't be soggy.
No, it's not. It's crunchy, and dip it in some ketchup.
There you go.
Over fries any day.
Okay. Ooh.
Over fries.